there's not much to see in my garden, but I planted my fall garden. I still have my tomatoes going over here. I'm gonna rip a few more of these out this weekend. I think I'm just gonna leave this one. It's kind of fallen over, but I'll probably leave this one because it's producing some cherry tomatoes for me. And back there, that tomato kind of is coming back. You can see it's got a bunch of tomatoes growing. And so I'll probably rip these three things out and put a cover crop in. And a cover crop is just, usually you plant something like rye or some kind of a grassy sort of a plant in. Mine's a mixture, and it grows, and then right before it goes to seed you cut it, and then you dig everything under into the soil. The whole idea is that the roots keep the soil from getting compacted, the roots of those plants, and then there's nutrients added to the soil from the plants themselves, and then also from you after you cut the tops of the plants off, you kind of dig it into the soil, and it just makes the soil healthier for the next year. And by the time spring comes, all that stuff will be broken down. Anyway, over here I planted this whole entire box with onions. Sorry if you're getting some muffled sound. The wind is blowing pretty hard today. I got this giant tomato plant that I might rip out. It's producing still, but not a ton. I'm not sure it's worth it. Sweet potatoes back there. Those have been in there for a little bit. I planted some peas right here. In this bed where I still have some kohlrabi that I'm just growing for the leaves, I also planted two different kinds of collard greens. This bed has some garlic, has German white garlic and elephant garlic, and then also broccoli. And in this bed I planted, what did I plant? Some sweet carrots and radishes. And then in this box right here, I planted all lettuce, butter lettuce, and spinach. Look at this. It was one gopher that did all this, you guys. Did all of that. There's a little bit back there that here and then over there that the gopher got into. And I had 3 artichoke plants over there this summer, and they all died one by one, and that gopher did that too. So I'm going to loosen up all of this dirt and do cover crop stuff in there so that, you know, we can try to get the, you know, because look at the bed, it's just all the dirt that was underneath, you know, like way down deep, not the nice soil that I had put in this box. The gopher just came and pushed all that stuff up, so this is hard, and so it'll be really good to actually put a cover crop in that. This cayenne pepper keeps falling over, but those are red bell peppers. I don't know if they'll grow. They sure took a long time getting going. I planted them in June, but they're starting. And then I have my jalapeno here. It's got some jalapenos on it. And then my chard here. So yeah, so it doesn't look like a very exciting garden, but this is the first time ever since I've been a gardener that I've lived someplace where I'm actually getting 2 growing seasons. So that's kind of fun. Hey guys, it's Wednesday and I am heading up to Flagstaff again. I actually haven't been up there this week yet. I'm going to be up there today and then again on Friday. Friday I have 2 meetings at work and an acupuncture appointment. Today I have a meeting with a colleague of mine who's also one of my best friends, Vicky. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then my mom and I this afternoon are going to check out 2 homes in Flagstaff for my dad, because last week, did I mention this already? You know how it is when you get really stressed out and you don't remember that you you don't remember things, and you don't remember if you told somebody something. That's kind of, I'm sure I've been repeating myself a lot lately in vlogs. Sorry about that. The woman from hospice had said to my mom last week, she said, you know, he really needs more care than what he's getting here. And so we've been kind of dreading having to move him anywhere else because of, you know, his attachment to people at the place where he currently lives. But he's really been detaching a lot from that. And that happens, I hear, as people get farther along in stages of illness, that they just sort of detach. But anyway, my dad, apparently he was acting really out of it that day and didn't seem to even notice what they were talking about. But the next day he called my mom and said, are you planning to move me somewhere else? And so my mom just told him. And so, you know, we just said, you know, it's about getting better care and more one-on-one attention. And so where he currently is, it's really designed for people who can do a lot of stuff for themselves, but maybe need some help with showering or you know, getting dressed and stuff like that. But it's not for when care gets, you know, when there's too much that's involved. Today, this morning, I told you I'm meeting with my coworker. Last week, I was sitting there at my desk, and I thought, oh gosh, you know, Vicki and I have a presentation. There's a conference that we're going to in October, and we were accepted to do this presentation based on some research that we've been doing. And I thought, gosh, that's in October. I better register for that, but I didn't really know when in October it was. So I go onto the website to register, and I went, oh my gosh, this thing's in 2 weeks. So it's actually a week from today that I'm leaving. And so I went into my friend's office across the hall and said, did you realize that this conference is in 2 weeks? And she said, yeah. And I said, we need to analyze data. So we did a study. We collected a bunch of data. It's about teacher retention. Basically, you know, people talk about teacher shortages, and teacher shortage is not the problem. The problem is, because we have plenty of people who are going through teacher preparation programs and becoming certified teachers. The problem is actually teacher retention. For some reason, teachers are not staying. And why is that? And you might say, well, teachers don't make very much money. Well, they've never made very much money, but we've never had the teacher retention issue that we've had in recent years. It's a nationwide thing, but it is particularly troubling in rural areas of Arizona. And so that's what our research is on, is teacher retention in rural Arizona. Rural northern Arizona actually is our specific part, because there's a lot of rural in northern Arizona. So we did a questionnaire. We were trying to find out why people leave and why people stay. We have to do some more analyzing. That's what we're meeting about today, and we have a grad assistant who's going to help us with some of that stuff. But we think what we're looking at is not so much that people don't want to stay in a rural area because there's no mall or no movie theater, but more about the fact that the school itself either does or doesn't have support. So some of the people who responded were saying great things about the support they have, and so then we need to find out, like, so how long have those people been there? Is that making them stay? And then we need to find out if there's any kind of a correlation between the people who said that there wasn't support and then the amount of time that they did or did not stay there. So we have to put this presentation together. Now, it's not going to be terribly hard because we did a presentation a couple of years ago where we were talking about the problem and the statistics, which are startling. In 2000, when was it? 2015? I think it was 2015. In one school district, these are small districts, but in one, they had a 75% turnover at the end of the year. In another district, that was in Page, Arizona. In Williams, Arizona, just called the gateway to the Grand Canyon. There's a railroad train, a train that goes to the Grand Canyon from there. They had a 50% turnover in April, meaning half their teachers left before the end of the school year. And then Grand Canyon Elementary School had a 100% turnover at the end of the year. And so, they talk about the greening of the profession, meaning that like if you're brand new, you're green. And so they're saying now that so many people are leaving education that all of the people are green. And so when you have a brand new teacher, you're pairing them up with the most seasoned person you have at your school, and that person's been there 3 years. You know what's funny? So in higher ed, we are required to present and publish, and so we have to do these things. And yet when we get accepted, so we do something, we write up a proposal, we want to do a presentation. These getting spots to present are not incredibly easy. And there have been some years where I've tried to get a presentation and didn't, but most years, thankfully, I've been able to. But you get accepted to present, and then they make you pay to come to the conference. So I'm paying $350 just for my registration, and then $280 for my plane ticket, and it'll be like $100, and I think when we split the room, I think it'll be $150 for the hotel, since we're splitting it 3 ways. But it's just funny that we have to pay that. Now, thankfully, my department, not all departments are like this, but my department gives us like, I think $1,100, and so I should be able to pull off this trip without having to pay money out of pocket. So this is my last conference though before I retire. I don't know how I feel about that, because I think conferences are fun, but I'm certainly not. I mean, I could go in the future, and I could actually go to a lot of these presentations with Vicki in the future as we continue to analyze the data, but I don't think I'm paying $1,000 out of pocket to go to something that I don't need for a promotion or whatever. That's another thing. Well, once I got promoted to full professor, I mean, there's still an expectation to publish and present and all that kind of stuff, but it's not as desperate a situation as when you're in the lower ranks. When I was assistant professor and associate professor, I was desperate to get presentations and publications so that I could get promoted eventually to full professor, which I did 3 years ago, and so that was cool. Look at Mary out there. I just love that she loves this yard. And I love that she never leaves. She always stays inside the fenced area. Even though our driveway gate is open during the day, she just doesn't leave. She'll even walk past it, the opening, and just not even look at it, as if it's never been opened. Of course, we only let her out after the world has woken up and we're pretty sure coyotes have gone home, and we bring her back in, and Chad, as it starts to get, well, even before it starts to get dark, we bring them in and then if I ever leave the house, then she has to come inside too. Hi guys, look at me. I wanted to show you these cool rollers I got. They're hot rollers, but they're big and fat, and it's really nice because rather than making like tight curls, it just kind of gives this nice flowy thing, and it takes frizz out and stuff like that. Mine is a John Frieda hair roller thing. If I forget to put it in the space below this video, you can just go onto Amazon and type in John Frieda, Frieda spelled F-R-I-E-D-A, John Frieda hot rollers. So here we go. I'm getting ready to go up to Flagstaff. It's about 7:20 right now. I have a couple of meetings today.
and an acupuncture appointment. Oh, I just wanted to say that by the time you see this video, my 31 party, the one where we're doing bags and purses and all that kind of stuff, that will have already been in progress, but it's going from October 1st to October 28th. If you're interested, go over to my other YouTube channel, Busy Being Jen, and there's a whole series of videos there that show different bags for different kinds of purposes. And so you can take a look at that. And so the party goes all pretty much the whole month of October. And there's just a lot of really cool stuff. And there's a cool deal where if you put $35 of stuff in your cart, then there are these 3 different kinds of bags that you have a choice of, and they're normally $80, and you can get them for $31. And 2 of them are overnight bags, and one of them is a duffel bag that has a compartment underneath where you can put shoes, and kind of neat bags. And the fact that you can get them for, you know, less than half price is a pretty cool deal. So anyway, you can see those videos over on my other channel, but you can always go over to my Facebook fan page. Just go to Facebook and type in Busy Being Jen, all one word, and then you'll see a link to the 31 party event. Go there, and then there's a link to the party, and then there's a catalog and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check that out if you have not already been over there. So, well, here's how my hair turned out. It makes it kind of straighter with a little bit of a flip to it. So that's kind of nice. I like those rollers. Okay, I did want to tell you that we found a place for my dad in Flagstaff. It's a nice little house. It's going to be farther out for me to go visit him if I'm driving up to Flagstaff, but it's not like Flagstaff's that huge anyway, but it'll be an additional maybe 15 or 20 minutes to drive out there. It's a nice little house. There are 3 other residents. The residents themselves wouldn't be what I would say, oh, my dad's going to love this. There are 2 women there who have severe dementia, Alzheimer's. One of them is, gosh, in her 90s, and the other one is, it's really sad. I think she's like 72. And I asked how old she was because she was walking so well, and most of the people that, you know, that we see at the place where my dad lives now, you know, have walkers or wheelchairs or something. And so this lady was walking so well. So she does have dementia, and even while we were there, both of them at different times were like, I'm going to go home now. I'm going to go home for a little bit, and then I'll come back. And they were like, no, sweetie, your home is here. And one of them was even saying, well, what about my horses? And so the lady who runs the place was just saying, well, you know, your horses are being taken care of. And she mentioned the name of the lady. This is kind of interesting. She mentioned the name of the lady. She said, Laura is taking care of your horses. And the lady says, Lori? So she corrected her. So she knew who the person was. But her current situation was, you know, a mystery to her. And she said, your son knows you're here, and he's going to come see you this afternoon. And, you know, so that's kind of sad. But at least they're talkative. And they were out in the living room, and they were chatting with each other. And apparently every day is a new day for them. They wake up and they don't, you know, everything's brand new. And so they make friends every single day. Again, have you seen the movie 50 First Dates? If you like stuff that's a little bit on the corny side, it's got Adam Sandler in it. So, but if you haven't seen it, you should see it. And Drew Barrymore is in it, and she has an accident and ends up losing her short-term memory. And so every single day she meets this guy, and he really likes her. But what he finds is that every day is brand new for her. So he has to, like, every day make her fall in love with him again. And so, so it's kind of like with these two women, that every day they reintroduce themselves, but every day they're best friends by the end of the day. And so that's kind of sweet. Then there's another guy who's there who does not have dementia, a little bit, probably, you know, dementia like my dad has dementia. And so he likes baseball, and he had just gotten up from a nap, and he came out to watch the Diamondbacks game. And so you know, so there's that. And I guess, well, we went to see another place before that, and the residents there were all in their rooms except for one guy who's nonverbal, really sweet and smiley and friendly, and frustrated that he can't talk, but he was out and about. But everyone else was just kind of laying in their beds. And I thought, well, you know, that would be horrible for my dad. So at least at this place, everybody's kind of out and about. The lady who runs the place is my age, super spunky, and says, this is, you know, I live here, this is my family. And that was a difference with the other place. The lady who owns the other place doesn't live there, and so it's just different caregivers coming in and out. At this place, there are different caregivers coming in and out too, but she is the constant, so she's always there. She lives there, and she has 2 dogs and a cat, and my dad will like that too. That quick update on my mother-in-law. You know, she's done with chemo and in remission, and that's wonderful. And so I'm sure she's started. I haven't talked to her in a couple of weeks, but I'm sure she is feeling more and more energy, and probably happy that her hair's going to start growing back. And so I'm very excited for her with that. So, oh, and then as far as the puppy situation goes, there are this lady who's got the dogs. She has 2 females, and they are both pregnant. She did not expect one of them to go into heat for another month or so. So they're both pregnant, not absolutely confirmed, but they're acting different, and so she's pretty sure that they are pregnant. And so I've been in contact with her, and she said that as soon as the puppies are born, which will be in November, 2 weeks after they're born, they go to get a vet checkup, and once they are confirmed healthy, then she contacts the people who are serious and says, you know, I'm taking down payments. And then we put down a down payment, and then we wait. And based on I think I might have already mentioned this, based on who gets the down payment in first, that's the order of the people who get to choose which dog they want. I'm happy that there are 2 litters, because we want a female, and yeah, I mean, we want a female. So if there's, you know, 1 litter and there's 3 puppies and only one's a female and I don't get her, or if there's no females in that litter, I think it's probably highly doubtful that with 2 litters there won't be a female. So I'm excited about that. So take a look at the sky here, you guys. I'm in Flagstaff now. It was sunny when I left home, and here it's just clearly looking stormy. I don't know that it's supposed to storm today, but it definitely is looking like it's turning to winter here. And that's kind of what happens in Flagstaff, is you have this beautiful fall. We're still in September. Today is September 29th, and you have this beautiful summer, and then all of a sudden, boom, summer is just gone, and fall's here for about 5 seconds.